My dear conquering community, welcome to another episode. Today I bring you a great couple, a beautiful love as I like to call it, and they're also a couple that's talked about everywhere. And today I'm going to have the pleasure of having a coffee liqueur with them. Paulina Mercado and Juan Soler, how are you? Welcome.
Happy to be here because besides,
It finally happened for us.
of course, we follow you and we admire you.
You're so lovely.
We really put all your advice into practice.
You're so lovely, you're flattering me a lot. Honestly, I hope it's true, but if it's not, well, I'm also going to learn a lot with you all. We've bumped into each other in Polanco and elsewhere, and it's always a pleasure talking with you all. We really needed the cameras, because sometimes our conversation would go off in another direction and we'd say, no, 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 that's it, podcast. Well, cheers with a Carajillo here at Carajillo Mazark.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To wake up the mind a little and, well, to chat, because honestly, it's good, right? These are the Carajillos from Carajillo.
What a gem.
I love having you here because, look, for a lot of people, you have become a reference and a source of hope, right? Not just as a couple, which is, of course, the main thing, but also as individuals, good-looking, hardworking, successful people, and so on. So, I want to go from 0 to 100 with you before you got here. I'd love to understand where you come from, right? I mean, if you want Juan without making the story too long, tell me a little bit. What was your experience like in your first marriage on a personal level? And why did you say, I can't stay here anymore?
Well, I always had my family on my mind. I was always aware of my wife, my children, my family, my group, my core. Because I come from a family where my mom and dad were married until my dad passed away. So that was my guiding light. My aspiration was exactly to have a complete family with children coming and going, raising the grandchildren. In the middle of it all, I realized that communication failed,
Okay.
that the goals failed, that personal needs changed, they weren't established. Also, that personal interests were diametrically opposed.
Okay.
Where we didn't have the maturity, even though I got married when I was older, we didn't have the maturity to set goals, objectives, non-negotiables. To talk about it the way it should be talked about, a partnership, because it's a marriage, it's a partnership. And until you understand it in that cold way, you'll never have any support that keeps love separate from each person's personal interests within that partnership. And when the partner's interests go in different directions, there's no way that partnership can succeed. So that's why I say that marriage, for me, marriage isn't anything relevant.
Okay.
Later, much later after that experience, because it's a society. So instead of having a wedding, it would be better to have a celebration at the commercial registry. Period.
I love it.
So you do your part, I'll do mine, let's move forward, and from here on out, everything is ours. So I think that would be very healthy. And all the romance and all this dreamlike part, let's leave that for later.
Which is enjoyable, but what I see in this narrative and what I love because it shows a lot of awareness is, well, we realized we weren't working as a team. We weren't building a common good. Each of us was going our own way, bringing out our wounded inner children and everything we know.
Exactly.
Now, through information that doesn't work, but on the field, many times, even if you know it, you don't put it into practice. So that's when you realize that, well, it's time, and I imagine both of you notice it. How does the breakup, the divorce affect you?
The circumstances in which it happened are what really hit me. I fell into a very deep depression. It lasted about a year and a half. At that time, my only activity was reading, watching series, and going to work, and I would come back
With a broken soul to work?
Yes, yes. And when you start to see that you're all broken in pieces, like little fragments you have to put back together. And I said, no, I'm not going to move from here until I find myself again, because honestly, I got lost. I got really lost and I had a really hard time.
Why did it hurt you and make you so depressed if you already knew the relationship wasn't working?
Because I'm someone who doesn't understand what it means not to fight for what I want. And I'm someone who, when I have goals, I achieve them.
Okay.
And I took it mistakenly, of course, as the biggest failure of my life. And no, I failed in many businesses. I failed in many ventures. I also failed in many aspirations. But when you take a life project to carry it through to the end for your whole life, it's the biggest failure you can face. Because besides, it's not something tangible. It's not something that, man, I messed up with the suppliers. I didn't get the product right and the customers don't want it. All of that is measurable. In a business, failure is 100% measurable.
And here's something that
And it's something that you don't know why it happened. You feel guilty, you blame the other person, you get angry, you get depressed, it makes you feel rage, it causes you depression, but you can't find the way. Why? Because I think that in that process you lost yourself.
yes,
So then, if not, who is the one searching if you're not there?
of course, and there, before getting to obviously how you stand up and being able to ask, like on the same wavelength, Pow, I imagine that, or now you realize it, but at the time you didn't realize that this whole crisis was for you to grow,
Of course.
right? And that's what we often don't realize during grief, but we'll get to that in a moment. Pow, please tell me, how did you get here, or rather, how were you before this beautiful love, right? What did you go through in your last relationship?
From my last relationship
I mean, yes,
or from my marriage.
I would prefer from your marriage. Then you keep telling me. Because I think people are really going to relate to this project, like my namesake says, something you have so many expectations for that they teach us about since we were kids, that there's so much romanticism, and then seeing it fall apart. That is extremely painful. Dating can be a little easier to handle, but marriage, especially as a Mexican woman,
Of course. You know, I actually got married very much in love, just like Juan, right? I mean, I was deeply in love when I got married. I married an amazing guy. And if you ask me, why did they get divorced, or why did you get divorced? Because I loved him a lot and because he's a great guy and he loved me too. And we took each other for granted. We took each other for granted. And I think a lot of couples fall into this feeling of saying, well, that's it. He's my husband. She's my wife. He started living his life. I started living mine. The kids were caught in the middle. And of course, I don't blame them. So, of course, I mean, suddenly you want to reconnect and you look at him and you say, who is this? Right? Who is he? What does he think? We also had very different goals. We had different needs and things. And we got divorced, I think, out of love, out of deep love. We're very good friends nowadays. We really are very good friends. And you know, when I got divorced, of course, it hit me really hard.
before we get to that, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, please.
If there was so much affection, so much, like so many beautiful feelings and such a genuine perception of the other person, but they stopped seeing each other and stopped feeding that flame with seduction, with communication, with the shared project and so on, did you ever try to save it or did you not try?
I think there was a period where it was a push and pull.
Okay?
And yes, I think there was always a lot of love, so much love, admiration, of course. I think I admire him a lot and he also admires me a lot. But I think our ego got the best of us. Pride, ego is very tricky and it can ruin you in any area, not just in love, at work, with friends, absolutely everything. And I think we stopped fighting. I think we stopped fighting. And yes, we definitely took each other for granted.
Okay.
Now that we're close friends, you can't imagine how much I value his friendship.
And before you became friends, you say he hit you?
He hit me a lot.
What stories did you tell yourself to let him hit you so much?
The story I told myself, First, my parents are divorced.
Okay.
They're divorced. So, of course, I went through a really tough divorce. Not tough with yelling and throwing things, which I think is even worse. A divorce of invisibility. Invisibility.
Of what?
Invisibility.
Invisibility?
Invisibility.
I also said, did he mean to say that? But it was good.
Of stupidity and invisibility. Exactly. Both of them, of course. Because you know what? I didn't see my dad. I didn't see my mom either. I felt very lonely. My sisters and I think we became very, very close. My older sister was like my mom. So it was a very difficult time for me, and I had sworn to myself that I would never, ever get divorced.
I'm not going to be like my parents.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I said, no, how could I live through what my parents did? I will never let my kids go through that, right? Because I'm a badass. My ego again, right? I'm the best. I will never get divorced. And of course, when you see that things aren't working and he had every right to be happy, I had every right to be happy. That's why I tell you why. Because I adore him, he adores me, and we're amazing people who deserve the best. We deserve beautiful love. We deserve to live in peace. We deserve to have clear goals. And as a couple, because walking next to someone is so much better.
Yes, and as we'll reveal now, it does require much of what Juan said: effort, willpower, and communication. Don't take things for granted. And people don't want that, so
They want the nice part, right?
they just want the reward, which is complicated, like in business. I want to start a business. Hey, but you have to go every day. No, no.
Get up at 5.
I delegate, I delegate. No, you're just irresponsible. So be careful with that because obviously, well, it's a project, as you said yourself. And like every project or every business or anything you want to build in your life, even your fitness, it requires discipline.
Any venture requires strong discipline, a great presence, besides.
What happens after the two of them fall? And then comes this part where you obviously want to move on and all these stories start. I should have known love doesn't exist, marriage is a sham. What did they tell themselves? What idea or meaning of love did they have at that point? Did their hope in love waver?
You know what happens? I experience love in a different way.
Okay.
I don't experience love the way I do today, now with awareness, with my years, with many falls, with many times getting back up. I've been broken, I've rebuilt myself, and from there I experience love in a different way. So I think that was my biggest mistake, thinking that love was perfection,
Of course.
that everything was beautiful, that everything was wonderful. But today I experience it completely differently.
But you didn't stop believing in love. No, your belief didn't waver, right? The famous, this marriage thing, the formula doesn't exist, it's obsolete.
No, never. I never said, I'll never love again. No one will ever love me. I never saw it that way, you know?
Okay.
Me neither.
Okay. I mean, they knew that they were going to make it. It just didn't happen at that moment.
What happens is that within a project you have to have all the right elements to carry out that project. And unfortunately, in a project of love, in a couples project, in a project for the future, in a long-term project, the main raw material is you.
Uh-huh.
So you don't stop believing in love. You stop believing in yourself.
Wow.
You don't stop believing that love exists. You stop believing that you are. No, you don't have the ability to create the necessary conditions for that love to succeed, eh? I always say that love doesn't exist. That love is made with every decision, with every word, with every caress, with every action you take. That love is being made. Love is it's a construct that is built daily
According to
at every instant, at every moment. So when my project fell apart, I started working on the most important thing, on shaping the raw material, which is myself.
And here comes something really important that will lead us to that. And I'm loving it because I know my audience very well. And I know that you're going to relate to this journey, which I'm trying to, yes, and you're helping me beautifully to take them along as well, right? They go into this grief, they go into this pain, and I want to know how they lived afterward when they felt a little better, well, their lives, right? Because I could swear that you were a bachelor, Don Juan, again, that you enjoyed your single life, that maybe you didn't want to trust again, or did you immediately want to start dating people, or how was that more or less?
When I get up from my armchair, which I deeply love, I get up from my television armchair. because for a year and a half I didn't sleep in my bed. I slept in a super comfortable television armchair. It was very, very, very broken, very, very broken, you know? The only thing I was sure about was that I didn't want to go out with anyone. I didn't want to party. My friends would invite me. No, come on, let's go party, because now the one thing I didn't want was exactly what I'd already experienced. I lived as a single man until I was 37, which is when I got married. And since I was 37, I never partied hard again. No, I'm not interested. I stopped caring because I've already lived through that stage and moved on.
How old were you when you divorced?
When I got divorced, I was 40 and 47.
Okay.
No, I got married at 37. No, 53 more.
And we're old now.
It's really bad for you to ask those things. Ask me how much I weigh and everything will go wrong.
Okay, but you were a man in your prime. You could have easily been hanging out just like many 50-year-old men are out there having fun.
Look, no, I don't condemn that, but no, that wasn't my.
You didn't feel it?
I have already lived it. I lived it. Yes, when I was young, I was really wild. I wasn't very careful with myself, with my body, with my health, with my safety. I was a biker. I loved to party. I loved going wild. I loved showing up to work without sleeping. I mean, my life was really messy.
Okay.
Within my single life,
Okay.
I really enjoyed living as a couple a lot. And I knew I was going to have a healthy relationship. A partner, a life as a couple for life. I knew that because that was my goal, and it still is my goal.
Of course.
It's still my goal.
Did you enlist with others or someone else?
Just one relationship before Paulina.
Okay. And did you feel there was progress or did you feel it was the same pattern?
You know, actually, I felt really good. In fact, she was my first girlfriend ever.
Okay.
I think there wasn't a future ahead of us together. I think I kind of forced myself to try to see a future. But actually, she was my great teacher, my great.
A mirror?
I don't know if a mirror, but she was my great rescuer. She rescued me. She allowed me to see again that you can have a beautiful relationship with someone, that you can have a relationship where there is honesty, where there is affection, but yes, that deep love never came.
It was a threshold. It was like,
Exactly, because she was a rescuer.
okay.
I felt maybe like I was in the middle of the ocean looking to see where the shore was, and I think she brought me to the shore.
Did she give you hope?
Yes, she gave me hope and helped me believe in myself again. I started to believe in the word. So then,
In the word love, of course. Of course.
so well, that's it.
And you, Pau, we're about to reach the climax.
You can ask whatever you want.
But I want look, why do I want to take the conversation this way? I mean, so the audience knows, besides the fact that it's a beautiful story because of the journey of growth and everything, because in my community there are a lot of single people due to divorce. There are many people who are looking for that love but with very little hope. They carry a lot of pain from grief, unprocessed grief, and so on. And to see a couple like that who took all the chances, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but they learn. Knowing it's imperfect, it becomes a beautiful love. We're about to discuss the relationship, lessons learned, and more. Well, I think it's about telling people, hey, behind that pain and those fears and those limiting beliefs, there's a lot of hope. I can tell you this, but I've only been married a few years.
Of course.
I can tell them, but they say, well, teach me more. And this is extremely valuable to me. So I also want to know a little bit about you, about that relationship you had before Juan and what you saw there. Like, did you say, oh, here we go again? Or am I making progress? Or what happened?
After my divorce, I had a relationship. I had a relationship for many years with someone. I learned a lot of things. Honestly, I had a really good time. He was a very intelligent man, and I think it's impressive how I realize now that I'm no longer there. and it's not his fault. Just to be clear, and I want to make that very clear, it's not his fault at all. It's my issue. My need to please and to be loved was so strong because I didn't want to go through another divorce that I think I lost myself.
Wow. So you didn't want to go through being ignored again, and you were saying, here I am.
I'm here, willing to do whatever it takes, however necessary. And I think I forgot about myself. And that was really hard. That was really hard because when you forget about yourself and only see the other person, you allow certain things you don't want. And in the end,
You leave yourself behind in the end.
totally. Juan said a little while ago, my divorce for me was a. What word did you use, honey?
Man, I don't know where we left off.
Well, that the divorce hurt you a lot and it was a huge loss for you.
Yeah.
For me, of course, it was a loss, but I can't see it as a failure. You said failure, but I can't see it as a failure because I had two wonderful children and I learned so much with Pablo. I learned so much. And I had a fantastic concept of family. What was hard for me in my divorce was losing the concept of family. And with this other partner, finally, it was like I had a concept of family again, which I was really attached to. With his children, we were a family. So I said, of course, everything had to happen for a reason because I am happy here. He was a real man, someone I really connected with. It was great. And suddenly something happened. I didn't see it coming, and the relationship ended. But after 9 years,
Okay.
so it was really, really hard for me. And I think that's where I started to truly grow
Okay.
because I completely forgot about myself. I got depressed. It was awful.
I mean, the first shock hadn't been strong enough.
It was really strong. But during the second shock, I thought, this is forever. This is a forever.
It's not going to happen to me again.
It's not going to happen to me again because besides, I'm charming. I'm wonderful, right? I mean, I'm a good partner. I'm ready for everything, right? Whether we have this or that with his kids and with his house, but I'm charming. And it amazes me how no matter what you do, if someone wants to be with you, they will be. And if someone doesn't want to be with you, they won't. And realizing that after everything I did, suddenly one day he says to you, wow, thank you so much for everything.
Oh, he broke up with you?
Yes, he broke up with me. He broke up with me and he's right. I mean, he must have his reasons and all that, and that's fine, but it was really hard.
Here's how I see it. I hope you agree, but let me know if you don't. Let's hear from the audience. Notice how you go from one extreme where you're really disconnected from your partner, then you go to the other, where you give yourself completely, you become accommodating because they say the key is in the middle. It's focus on yourself, but don't stop seeing your partner, and focus on your partner, but don't stop seeing yourself. That's so important.
But I realized that when I was outside, and look, I'll say it again, he's a great guy, he's a really good man, and he doesn't have to be my friends, oh, that jerk. No, if someone doesn't want to be with you, they're not bad.
Yeah.
They just don't want to be with you, and that's okay. Accept it, own it, and don't blame yourself.
That's hard.
Don't blame yourself. You may wonder where you went wrong, but who is really at fault?
Yes.
I mean, what happened? But no, he has every right. And honestly, I speak about him with a lot of love and a lot of respect, truly, from a place of honesty. And then as time went by, I realized that the hard part wasn't losing him, but losing myself in the process.
How beautiful. I mean, how beautiful that both of us,
Of course,
they come from there.
from different circumstances. Look, because she didn't see marriage as a failure, I also have some wonderful daughters. No, my idea of what I wanted to achieve was a failure, but yes, as a project, it happened to me. But she, Paulina, aspired not to repeat her father's patterns, and I aspired to repeat the patterns my father.
The united family.
We also came from two completely opposite poles, diametrically opposed for the same purpose.
I always tell people to see how important this is. You can have a desire. The desire is, I want the same as my parents, or I don't want to be like my parents.
Of course,
But you said it very well. You, the vehicle to achieve the desire, is you.
exactly.
And the problem is that nobody prepared us. Who taught us communication, Juan? Nobody. Who taught us effective responsibility, self-love, everything we're talking about here? Nobody. We learned the hard way.
Uncomfortable conversations, they're so important to move forward, to learn.
That's the gap between what we want and the information we bring from home. And that's why it's so important sometimes if you don't educate yourself to go through these crises, because that's when you ask yourself, what do I need to do to be better and relate better? I hope I've handled this with a lot of respect. Now I want to get a little into the loving and conscious banter. Because a lot of people in their 40s or 50s, once they're divorced, it's like they opened up a daycare with no supervisor in charge. And so this modern love seems like an emotional daycare.
A fox in a hen house, period.
The fox in the hen house and then the daycare on Revolution. It's just wounded children hurting others and casual sex and easy sex. Yes, I want to and pitch the whole romance idea, but no. So, how did you all experience your single lives and how did you stay away from all this chaos? Because I feel that once you get divorced, I haven't been through that, but you can experience relationships with more fear and wanting to control and calculate everything, or with much more awareness. How was that for you, and what would you say to those on the other side?
Are you going? Okay. I long for love and for sharing. I'm someone who likes to be in a relationship. I'm not wild. I never lived that thing of who am I going out with Chucho or with Juan? Never.
Okay.
I was always in a relationship,
Okay.
always. So when I broke up with this person after so many years, I was very depressed for 6 months.
Okay.
Very depressed, really bad. I mean, honestly, I remember that time and I feel tenderness for myself because also, of course, my kids were at home. My kids were worried about me and would say, "We're not going out today, Mom. We're feeling lazy." But they wanted to stay to take care of me until I told them, "Wait a minute, I'm the adult and the mom here.
All right.
You go on with your lives, and this is something I have to go through. I want to embrace it. I want to live it. So go on with your lives." So for 6 months, I devoted myself to meditation. I devoted myself to walking. I devoted myself to writing. I devoted myself to therapy and to not seeing, not to ask why this happened, but to turn it into a what for. Now I can see it and I'm grateful for it, you know? But at that moment, I was in a dark, dark, dark tunnel where I couldn't see the light. And I was very sad. And when I talk about it now, I even find it touching. There was a moment, an instant when I said, "My God, I don't want to live anymore." In that, I swear to you, it was like a split second. It hit me, and I said, "I'm just kidding.
Good.
I'm going to work. I'm going to work a lot." So I got myself into a,
So, you told your inner narrator named Anxiety, shut up.
of course, shut up. How is it possible that you think this? Because besides, putting the power over your happiness, your peace, and your health in someone else's hands isn't fair, neither for the other person nor for me,
Of course.
you know? So it was a really tough 6 months. And then I started going out with different people. Like after 6 months, I said, "Okay, I'm ready. I have to go out. I'm fine now. I've recovered." I swear I put myself back together in pieces. I glued myself back together. I mean, in pieces, but did I learn a lot? I mean, I learned quite a few things. But anyway, I went out with different people and I realized that a part of me wasn't giving itself completely because I was really afraid of getting hurt. I was so scared that someone would say to me again, "Thank you for everything." Because on top of that, I have the trauma of my dad who abandoned me.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was an abandonment. So, what I went through with this person was like touching on that again. Like, what did I do? What?
Yeah, did you relive the trauma?
Yeah, like I said before, he has every right not to want to be with me, right?
Yeah.
He's very honest. I applaud him for that. And well, after a long time and everything, suddenly I feel like I found this person. This person met me when I was already rebuilt, already seeing myself, loving myself, setting boundaries.
But look at how incredible what you're saying is. Because we're taking the ideal journey, well, not ideal, but the one we should go through. Because I'm going to stop you here for a second because I imagine that you at the same time were building yourself up too. After this relationship, which we defined as a threshold to a new level to help you recover hope and so on, what did you do for yourself, just like Pao, to rebuild yourself?
I also went through a lot of therapy. I didn't want the party or the wild nights.
You didn't want to numb yourself.
Yeah, the easy dopamine, I gave that up. It was a dark time, very, very dark, until this relationship came along, which showed me the light again. But I knew that wasn't the right path. Yes, I was grateful to have had the chance to meet the Juan Soler I had left behind a long time ago, who had gotten lost on a path of shadows and of himself
Yes.
and of dark forest.
Did you reconnect with him?
I reconnected with that Juan Soler. I realized I liked that Juan Soler, and I said, wow, well, yeah, he's really cool. This guy is Juan.
Before the depression,
Before the depression, before the marriage.
of course,
So I'm a hardworking guy. I'm a guy who really likes life. I like life a lot, a lot, a lot.
like a good Argentinian.
Like a good Argentinian,
Yes.
like me, Fernet with Coke and a good barbecue,
Of course.
and a woman who takes care of me,
And that's it?
and someone to care for, right?
Of course.
Because there's nothing more important than that. And I think that when I reconnect with that Juan Soler, that's when I realize, man, where did you go? Where did you get yourself into?
Yeah, you miss your own self, right?
Of course.
Of course,
We cover them with filth.
when you lose that coin in the darkness, you lose it. It's like a trip. It's like a trip where you say, okay, perfect. I'll take whatever comes and I don't care who comes in. And it's not like that. When you start out, now I realize that when you start the journey, you go, wow, you have to go with full awareness and with the full weight of your decisions and with all the hopes of your dreams to fulfill. So it's I think that when I found myself, when I got Juan Soler back, it was when I said, no, wow, yes, a life that is truly worth living, to be lived, and let's look for the person, the right person. I wasn't out fishing. I wasn't out hunting. No, I wasn't searching when I met Paulina. No, I wasn't searching. I was already at peace because I could be alone with myself, happy with life, but I was having a great time.
Yes, that's very important. And you too, from what I understand, Paul.
Absolutely.
And here's the most beautiful and paradoxical thing of all. When you're good with yourself and you don't need anyone, you become so attractive to others. Because it's like everyone says, I want a piece of that. Someone who knows how to be alone, who's built to be part of a team, and not the desperate one, the needy one, the one who says, please save me.
Of course, absolutely.
And then there, it's like you move up a league or a level, not because you're perfect, because we're all always healing in life and in relationships. But you connect with someone at your level. But you, for example, at that time, I ask you, would it have been easy for you to connect with someone like you did with the Juan from before, the one you were, without all these lessons?
Not at all.
And you wouldn't have either, right?
Absolutely.
And so here comes something that I'm sure you've already told, but I want to know in detail. How did you two meet? You're so sweet. You're so sweet. How did you meet? How did you identify each other as the right people for this project?
We met because I was invited.
He's even blushing.
No. It's just that it brings back only good memories. So, yes, it's really nice to relive it. It's really nice to tell the story again when the story is so beautiful.
I love it.
So, they invite me to work on the show. At that time, I was 6 months into of saying, I'm not going to work because I have a personal project, and they invite me to work as the host of Sal el Sol. Ah, perfect. That's when I joined. I met Paulina, but I met her from a different setting. I met her from another. Yes, I met her without any expectations.
Okay.
I met her like you meet someone and you like them because she had great energy, a lot of happiness. Someone you see is very grounded. So you say, oh, wow, I like this person.
And in a way, true or false, you met the real Paulina and not the character. Because since you spend so much time together, of course, you can't pretend for that long.
But besides that, we became very good friends because our conversations were honest. There were no interests in the way that would cast shadows. Because when there's an interest, you always try to hide your dark sides behind a wall.
Like what kind of thing? Like trying to ride on someone else's fame or.
No, not so much that, but maybe you just don't talk about how wild you were when you were younger.
Oh, I get it now. When you're pretending to impress someone, got it.
When you're in that mode,
You put on your best face.
Of course.
when you conquer, you only show your light. So that's what ends up failing and betraying a relationship. If you only show your light, anyone can see people's light.
Anyone can fall in love with that.
That's in front of a wonderful Instagram photo. You don't see all the arguments, fights, or the ordeal that person is going through. But anyway, so we met in that environment. She was in a relationship. I was in a relationship. So for a year, we were really just very good friends.
Okay.
There's a story she always tells. I'm not sure if I should tell it.
No, do you want me to tell it or not?
Nope.
No, I am going to tell it. Yes, we are going to tell it.
Yes, we do. Didn't you say I could have whatever I wanted?
No, of course not. We were great friends, and Juan is right. Knowing you in the light is very different than in the shadow. And if you click with a friend, with a girlfriend, or with a guy, or with a girl from the shadows, you have every possibility to walk alongside that person.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about a romantic relationship. And Juan knew what hurt me, what didn't hurt me, my fears, my desires, my dreams, right? The fears.
Getting to know each other. And we talked
Of course, as friends.
as friends.
We were very close friends. At that time, I had a boyfriend and planned to travel with him. I was excited. And I said, "Hey, Juan, what should I take with me?"
Ah, you even knew her boyfriends.
Of course.
Wow.
Of course. One met me, one.
We continue, yes.
And I say, "What should I wear?" Because obviously I want to look sexy, but classy, but good. But what do? She says, "Look, Paulina, after you shower, put on a white shirt,
Loose.
loose with the button open, wet hair, and boy short panties. Don't wear those tiny panties because they're nothing.
No, exactly.
You like a proper lady."
Leave something to the imagination.
Of course, I went to buy my shirt, my cheeky panties. It worked.
I mean, you really saw him as someone whose advice you even followed.
I'll tell you something. Even when I had a boyfriend and he had a partner, my friends always told me, "You're going to end up with Juan, always."
So nothing from you? Or did you say maybe?
No, I said, absolutely not. He's my friend and wonderful. I also enjoy talking to him because he's intelligent, cultured, and well-informed. So we always talked about certain things. It was really nice to talk with him. And I'll tell you what I loved about Juan. The relationship he had with his wife and how he treated her. It was the most respectful thing. I can't stand those men who are,
Are you talking about his ex?
yes, about his ex.
No, not my ex-wife, but my girlfriend.
The girlfriend he had, the partner he had.
I was also in a relationship because I was in a relationship when I met Paulina on the show.
With the girl who was his childhood girlfriend.
Ah, okay, of course.
I thought, wow, what a great guy. Because flirty men, I don't know why they have this, I don't know, habit of seeing a pretty girl and turning to look, right? Or talking about girls like, yeah, with this one, I don't know what, I don't know how much. Or let's go party. And we wanted to take one out to dinner, something like that. And he would say no because I'm going to talk to my wife on the phone. So I thought, wow, what a great guy. And it's not that that made me fall in love because there was never any intention beyond friendship. But a deep admiration for the man was born because he is an upright man, an honorable man. And that fascinated me. But my friends, mind you, would tell me, "You're going to end up with Juan." And I was like, no way, not at all.
And even so, well, you went out with this guy, you gave him advice. How much time passed before you felt a spark, and where did you feel it? How was that spark?
I don't know why that spark happens, honey. Why does it suddenly happen at that time and not before or after?
No, I think that I'm going to speak for myself. I had been so broken. Rebuilding myself was so difficult. It was such a task, such a titanic task, to put it one way. This, that I value a lot. Yes, I valued a lot each relationship. In the relationship, you see,
Uh-huh.
huh? So I think that no, I couldn't see Paulina as more than a very good friend because we have to start putting things in their place. We have to start enjoying things as they are. Let's see. If the specific weight of lead is the same as that of gold, there's only one molecule that separates them, and when you change that molecule, it turns into gold. So I think that everything has its own specific weight, and you shouldn't get confused. So at that moment, the friendship I had with Paulina was so beautiful that I was incapable of ruining it.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I didn't see her as a beautiful woman, a classy woman. I mean, just because you're a vegetarian doesn't mean you won't look at the menu when you go to a place that serves meat, right?
Of course. However, like Paul says, you were very consistent. I mean, you weren't this guy who was ruled by his impulses like, hey, what's up, and all that, but instead, okay, I acknowledge, because that's a fact that any camera could recognize. A beautiful woman with class, but your stories didn't go beyond that.
Not in that sense.
In fact, sorry to interrupt, for example, there would be guests on the show, gorgeous women, amazing bodies, and all that. And, oh, Juan, this and that. And Juan was like, I mean, he set a very clear boundary. I'm very particular about that, about the respect we give to our partner, you know? And maybe the girl wouldn't have found out because she lived in Argentina. But Juan was impeccable. Impecable. And honestly, I admired him for that, and I still admire him for it.
At what point do you go from Juan and Pao in our minds were friends to, oh, something felt different?
I think it happened to me first because I would see my girlfriend at the time, my partner, every so often. And the last time she was here in Mexico, it hit me really hard. I wasn't like, oh yeah, anymore. It was like conjugal visits at the prison. So he would come visit for 2 weeks and then leave for a couple of months, 3 months, or a month. It didn't matter, but I wanted continuity. I love living as a couple. I appreciate, value, and love life as a couple.
I can tell you both have a calling to be together.
Yes, yes, definitely. I can spend a month alone with Paulina. Send me to Butania and we'll just sit there and we'll be fine. But what I mean is that day was very special because I took her to the airport very early in the morning. I took the first morning flight at around 5:30 or 6 o'clock and returned, heading straight to the station. And that day I told Paulina, you have no idea how sad I am. In fact, a little tear even slipped out. I'm very emotional.
Which I want to get to right now.
I'm very emotional. And I told Paulina, it really hurts. I can't go on. This relationship is starting to hurt me.
I imagine. Please correct or confirm. Also, he seemed like a sensitive man.
Of course,
As is needed now, too.
that's her strength. Her, I don't know. That sensitivity or vulnerability, you don't know what strength it gives her. I love that she's so sensitive.
Because she has both sides. And a while ago, we were talking with a previous guest, Jorge Cantero, about masculinity, how important it is. And we were talking about how important it is for a man to have both things integrated, not just being macho, who thinks he's dominant and wants to control everyone, nor the so-called princesos now who are just sons that want their mothers to spoil them. It's, I'm man enough to do, solve, provide, give, contain whatever you want, but I'm also sensitive enough to connect, to express a need to you, to empathize with yours.
To be moved by life, by a sunset. I love that he is touched by what anyone would call the simplest things in life, but I say by the deepest things in life. Right? He connects in a very beautiful way so we can watch a sunset and cry, right?
That's incredible. Did you always have that before, or did it develop over time, Juan, that you were someone who wasn't ashamed to show yourself?
No, I was ashamed to show myself. No, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Yes, I was. Yes, I'm very dominant. Yes, I'm very alpha. Yes, I'm very much a leader. However, I'm not the type of leader who comes in and yells. People listen to me, you know? Well, I think more than being a leader, I identify much more with the leader. With the leader
Who inspires?
of the wolf kingdom.
Okay.
The leader is the one who stays at the back because he can see his whole pack and he has only one mate in his life, only one she-wolf. This one, I identify much more with that kind of leader.
Okay.
I mean, if we have to go forward, I'll be the first one to step up and do it. I prefer to lead by example rather than lead with.
From what I understand, you have strong convictions but don't impose them. You know how to negotiate and reach agreements, for example.
Yes.
I mean, that, for example, did you notice that before, that he could communicate, that you saw he was a communicative person and not.
Yes, of course, he was very, very open, very sensitive, and he also set clear boundaries. You know, when we were together on the show, I loved how he set boundaries. Because as I said, he has this sensitive side. He talked about his life, his family, and even his daughters. I loved seeing him connect with his girlfriend. Yes, of course, I noticed this ability he has to, well, to share a little piece of his heart. Because anyone who sees him like that, Juan, big, strong, you know, big, strong, handsome.
And in people's minds, well, he's the leading man of the soap opera, who could have always been the Don Juan, which he clearly isn't, but yes, he could be a stereotype.
Of course, he shares his heart, and I really loved getting to know him from that side. I think also he was very honest because since we were friends, you don't need to impress anyone since you already present yourself wonderfully on the first date.
Everyone,
We've all done it, honestly, but with Juan, we were such good friends that I really got to see that vulnerability in him, which I truly embrace. I love it.
look, we're about to get to the moment of the spark, which we're kind of getting back. But I always recommend to all my students, my audience, and everyone, take time to go on dates. If you don't, you only know the idealized version of the person, not who they really are, right? The one you say, "This is my show. I'm here to make you fall in love," which is why you don't see my flaws.
You see neediness, right? What you want in a partner is what you start to see during the infatuation stage, too. Of course, we've all wanted that, but as time goes by, you realize, okay, it's not what I thought.
And you had plenty of time to genuinely get to know each other,
Absolutely.
and that's incredibly valuable. They worked for a year and a half, and every day, right? In stressful environments.
Every single day,
Yeah, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. There was stress, there were problems.
in wonderful highs, in terrible lows, in peaks of happiness. I mean, yeah, in all the highs you can imagine, we were able to connect.
When does the spark happen?
When does the spark happen, love?
It happens when, well, I had already broken up with my partner. And Paulina breaks up with her partner at another time in another moment. So I say, wow, I want to give myself the chance to get to know this woman. She seems extraordinary to me. She seems intelligent, gorgeous, a good person. I loved how I really pay attention to how people treat those around them. For me, that's extremely important. It's very important. The producer's job is not to sit down and eat with the main actors. The producer's job is to know what the basic needs of their support team are. So I really care about people's relationships. Watching Paulina, I wanted to get to know her in a new way since I already know her as a friend. I ask her out and she says no because not yet, because she was hurt.
Okay, but look how important what I'm discovering here with you is. Even though you already knew it, but were saying it out loud, neither of you was emotionally available. You were both in a relationship. You were consistent. When one of you becomes available, you assume the other is too since she's already single, but you were still grieving.
I was going through the grieving process. I mean, I had been with a guy who was also charming and wonderful, and that's when I realized I was already healing. And healing, seeing myself, recognizing myself, and loving myself. Because with this guy, I suddenly realized that I didn't want to stop being myself just to record. I wasn't willing to give up my work. I wasn't willing to give up my way of being, not even my way of thinking. So I broke up with this great, charming guy, but we're just very different. And that's when I realized I was ready to love from a different place because I already loved myself.
From your genuine place, because a lot of people misunderstand. Sadly, I'm not going to give up who I am. I'm not going to agree to things. It's different, and that's what I tell the people who are listening to us. I'm not going to give up my essence, being myself, and of course, I'm going to keep growing and I'll negotiate and agree and everything, but from a place of love.
Absolutely, because if I stop being myself, I'm nothing.
Exactly.
For better or for worse, this is who I am. I truly like who I am. I've built myself through a strong process my whole life, and I want to defend who I am. And then that's when I realized, okay, Paulina, you're fine now. You don't have this guy anymore, but you have yourself. And that was a feeling of, I mean, greatness, but not in a bad way. Like, oh, no, no, no. I felt so complete that I didn't need anyone else to make me whole.
And when he asks you out,
And that's when I was ready then to share with Juan. When Juan asked me out, honestly, it was very soon. I had just broken up with this guy.
it was like, wait, I'm just coming up for air.
Yes, it's not like a vine you have to hold on to. I'm not letting go of one thing to grab another. It was a process we had to handle, and he had to manage his own process too.
Okay, so how did you get back into it? Because he already took his shot. Did you try again, or how did it go?
No, because she would tell me, let's go out with the guys from the show, because they always did things like,
She put you in the friend zone?
exactly. She put me in the friend zone,
Okay.
So,
We were already starting to flirt with each other, right? We already saw each other differently. When we went to take the picture, he hugged me differently.
yes.
Oh,
And I cooperated.
It's just that we really liked each other very much. And I think maybe the only fear we had at that moment was, man, I hope I don't make a mistake and miss the chance to really get to know this person.
okay.
And to have the chance to say, this is who I am, I would love for you to like who I am. So, then we had a meal. There was a meal. And during that meal, we went grocery shopping together to a very well known store.
Which I love. It's my Disneyland. I love going.
But then, so she didn't know about that store they had just opened. It was newly inaugurated. It had only been open for a short time in Santa Fe, a huge, big store. It was very American style. So, well, let's go buy things there.
I like that they're from television where they can't name brands, but on this podcast, they can say Costco.
Yes, Costco.
Yes, Costco. Okay.
I love you. I love you. You love Costco. Costco, pay us for a campaign, please.
I'm Paulina Mercado, and I'm obsessed with Costco.
All right. You're the Costco lady who appears on social media,
It's not a gem.
right? Everyone says they love it.
We are all the lady from Costco.
Everyone, of course.
Not as skilled as that lady from Claro.
Of course, of course. So,
But then we went, oh, yes, let's go. Let's check out the store. We were going with the cart. Yeah, through the different, she was fascinated. Well, yeah, it's her Disney. She was fascinated because that store is really beautiful. We bought what we had to buy, a salmon and a drink and what? A cake. Did you buy?
I don't even remember anymore.
I remember the salmon.
The salmon.
Yes.
We also bought some juices.
Some juices. Yes, juices.
you remember so well?
Yes, because we planned to buy specific items as everyone in the group agreed to bring certain things.
I even remember what I was wearing, some really old sweatpants because we had just finished filming. You arrive at the studio in sweatpants at 6 a.m., go home in sweatpants, and return again later.
But the guy with a crush on you would see you in shorts, looking gorgeous and happy. It's just that once you get to know the essence, the looks.
Even if they're naked, I'm telling you.
However it is.
Sure, sure. But then,
So, there was a lady that I actually saw. She took a picture of us. And then they called us a week later. Then we went to our meal. The meal was a lot of fun. We left around 6 or 7 in the evening. It was at the house of
I don't think so. Of Satina.
Sorry.
It wasn't love. It was a week later. I mean, I think you and I went to Costco around Friday, and on Monday night.
No. It was about 2 weeks after Costco. Of course, it was about 2 weeks. And they called us on our phones on Sunday or Saturday.
It was Monday since the magazine released Tuesday.
That's why they called us on Sunday. An article is about to come out saying that you two are together we're not together, man. We're not together. No. But anyway, so Pau says to me, what are we going to do? Well, during that time, we were kind of starting to go out.
okay,
That's the honest truth. I mean,
there had to be another appointment.
there already was. So I talked to my daughters. I told my daughters, I'm going to start getting to know a coworker that I like a lot. I want you to know.
Of course.
Paulina had also talked to the children. That was on a Saturday, I think you spoke.
Yes.
Yes, I don't recall the exact date, but everything happened within 2 weeks. They called us and said, this will be on the show.
No, in a magazine.
In a magazine.
A magazine is going to publish it.
We'll announce it on the show. So I tell Paulina, well, we need to talk. We went and I asked her out on the show. Now she can't refuse me.
Wow, right there in public?
In public, yes.
They asked, what's happening with you two? You're not a couple, so what's going on? We told the truth. We're getting to know each other. We hadn't said anything yet because, well, it wasn't the right time. And besides, we wanted to wait.
Of course, you're already a bit, and even more so being public figures. People get involved in something that's very innocent.
And for our children. Beyond being public figures, I do feel that, well, we wanted to protect them too, right?
We wanted to protect our environment, our people.
No doubt.
So our privacy was different. No, we didn't want to reveal what happened in private.
Okay, well, yes, you both officially and publicly became a couple, but nothing guaranteed that it would work out. You just knew each other, that's all. Now, what is your day to day life like together? To begin with, what agreements did you make? They said maybe it's strange, but they've worked well for us. For example, do you live in separate houses together? What kind of agreements? Like, what are your daily routines like? Or that people cross themselves when they hear about things like sleeping in separate rooms, but that they're actually functional? Do you have things where you say, you don't know how much this has helped our relationship?
Honestly, after I got divorced, I had sworn I would never live with a partner again.
Okay, I said,
I think the arrangement where everyone lives in their own house and God in everyone's house is perfect. Hey, why do they have to see you with messy hair? Why the toothbrush? No. Everyone lives in their own house. I had said I never wanted to date an actor.
okay.
Just look at the prejudices. Actors kissing beautiful women, being terrible, and so on. Because also I said,
Even being in the industry?
yes,
Wow.
so tough, right?
Well, I mean, it's funny because you know the business, but yeah.
Totally. It was like my fantasy to imagine, no, actors must be terrible, right? And I'm going to tell you something, and I'm telling you this with complete honesty. I've never felt as cared for and as confident as I have with Juan. One, of course, because Juan is a wonderful guy and he has never given me a reason to distrust him. But also, now I have myself. I mean, it's not just that I trust Juan, I trust who I am today. And before, I didn't trust who Paulina Mercado was, you know? So, well, I got lost.
Everyone in their own house and God in all.
I had sworn never to be with an actor and never to live with anyone, right, honey?
Right, honey?
That's how it is suddenly. And suddenly he just goes and says, no.
We already made it official. We're already dating, blah, blah, blah. So I formally asked her to be my girlfriend. I'm old fashioned like that.
Of course.
And she asks me, but wait, how? Because you guys, what do you mean by boyfriend? Are we exclusive? Are we not exclusive? And what did I say to you?
No, but think about going to his house for a party where all the girls are in bikinis. What's up with that? And what does being a boyfriend mean to you?
Of course.
Is there exclusivity or not?
Of course.
And he answered me, and I loved it. He said, there isn't the slightest chance that I would share you with anyone.
Wow.
I said, okay, so we are exclusive, right? So yes, right?
And then, well, we started living that way. She was already at her house with her kids. I was at my house with my dog, with Borges and my daughter.
First, I'd stay at your house on Wednesdays.
We started with her staying over on Wednesdays.
Why Wednesdays?
Because it was Aito's day, it was Aito's day. And my kids knew, like, hey, today I have to go with Juan. I'm going to stay with Juan.
Okay.
It's just that we're very organized. We're very organized, very organized, very organized.
Clear with our children.
Exactly. And there comes a point where Paulina, her children already wanted to go live on their own. She was living in a very big house. And Paulina says, you know what, guys? Let's sell the house. After resolving family matters, Paulina began searching for an apartment.
Okay.
She says, I'm going to move close to you so it's not so far. And I tell her, and why close?
So it's not super far?
So they're not side by side, one above the other, then from the same door? He says, no, I don't know. In that back and forth, she ends up saying, Paulina, let's see. Well, let's look and see what's on the market. Paulina, Mercado.
Uh-huh.
And we made the decision to look for an apartment together, right?
No, and that loving look shows it's gone well, but I need to work on the chapter. Let's see, guys.
This is the best decision, I'll speak for myself, that I've made in my life.
But wait, because right now you tell me and I believe you 100%. But tell me, when ghosts from the past started to appear, tell me, which ones? For example, well, I don't know. Things that used to bother you before, like I don't have my own bathroom just for me, or this guy is at home all day. I don't know, something you experienced in your previous marriages where you said, oh, it's happening again.
You know, I'm going to speak for myself right now, too. You know, it's more about how you handled it, not so much about living together, but about awareness.
Absolutely right. I love it.
Why? Because many times I saw myself reacting in a way that I shouldn't. The act didn't correspond to Paulina, but rather I was reacting as a reflex to what I had experienced in the previous reaction. So I ended up apologizing. Paulina would point this out to me like, what do I have to do with that? She says, son, you're absolutely right. I apologize. Yes, I'm reacting the way I would have in the past because, well, you can cure an illness, but there are always little after effects until it completely leaves the body.
And you know what, Juan? I'm convinced, and it's not just me saying it, that's how it is. Patterns are broken on the field, not in theory. In the mind, the opportunity is here. I'm realizing that I'm starting to repeat myself, so I step back and apologize. And I make amends, and then it starts to fade away. It's like, I react less and less each time. I make amends, I do better, so it's not a bad thing.
It happened to us a couple of times. We had several, 2 or 3, but not that many. We haven't had that many confrontations because I think we came into the relationship pretty well prepared. I think so. I think I was less prepared than Paulina. Paulina is much more aware. I'm still a bit rough around the edges. I'm getting there.
No.
By force of slipper, by force of slipper.
I think we keep learning from each other, and we keep learning, obviously, from life and from this journey. But I think, yes, now very consciously, do you know what happens? That we're not afraid of uncomfortable practices. No, then we can say, hey, Juan, look what you're telling me, or this anger, is it mine, or does it have to do with your story? And maybe not right now, but later I feel like we sort it out, and it's happened to me too. Right now I said Juan, for example, or Paulina, but we sort it out, we integrate it. And of course, it doesn't have to do with the other person. It has to do with our fears, with our wounds,
with our ghosts
that we keep healing, and maybe it will take us a whole lifetime. But the point is to be aware that they're not the other person's responsibility.
That's beautiful the way you put it. I reflect you, I ask you, I don't judge you. Hey, Juan, is this between us or is it a ghost or an echo from the past? Because what do most people do? Because nobody taught us. It's that it's your fault, that because of you, I don't know what, and there's war and conflict, there's defense. But when you accompany your partner on this journey and say, hey, with all the love in the world, I know there's a conflict, but I want you to realize it. On their own, boom, it clicks for them and they can learn and grow.
Of course.
Blaming others leaves no space for growth, only self-defense. I like how you said it. Because I always say that love is a journey of self-discovery together. You're not going to heal him and he's not going to heal you, but you'll accompany each other as you both heal those wounds throughout your lives, and that's beautiful.
Absolutely. And this comes from obviously awareness, but also experience.
Definitely.
I mean, when I tell you, no, for me, it wasn't a drama, the divorce and my other relationship and all that, okay? I think it has helped me so much to be where I am today, because now I know what I want, what I don't want. My divorce and the breakup with my other boyfriend and everything else hurt me terribly. It hurt me so much. But today I can be grateful for everything I've lived through, the good and the bad, because thanks to that, I'm in this place and now I love in a completely different way. So, yes, I can be grateful for it. You know, I never thought I would be able to say that.
I love it.
But yes, I can be grateful for it.
And it's hard to be grateful for it in the moment because it hurts a lot and you can't see it. It's a storm.
It's impossible.
But then you realize that without it, you wouldn't be who you are or have this relationship.
It's how I imagine epic battles in the time of the Romans, dusty fields where the skirmish doesn't even let you see your battle companion. And when the dust settles, you start to recognize who's there and who's not, what's right and what's not, where to go and where not to go. So today we're at a point where each of us individually knows where we want to go. But since the dialogue is so fluid, you adjust. Wow, I like the little street with stones better. No, not me. Because of the heels, I prefer the little street without stones. So you reach a middle ground and say, okay, fine, let's go with big tiles. So you don't fall with your heels. And so I can still feel that there are textures here. So Yes, because
Of course, nothing is perfect.
not everything is perfect.
Look, we are in awareness and in deep love,
Exactly.
but not everything is perfect. Because I think at some point in our lives, we thought that love had to be perfect and everything nice and everything rosy. Today, we know that love is, like you said at the beginning, it's walking hand in hand with your partner through everything that comes, even if you hate them, still loving them. Even if the path is dark, keep moving forward, holding hands. Even if you can't see anything in that moment, you feel it and you know it's there. And that's very beautiful.
It's wonderful. And now let's think that I wish you the best share for life.
Thank you very much.
If it couldn't last a lifetime and ended, could you still say it was a beautiful love?
Absolutely, yes, of course, of course. I'm just saying that. I mean, I would say it was a beautiful love. It's a love. It's a wonderful love. I will always say it until the day I die. And I can also tell you that, I mean, I would never want this to end. I would never want this to end because I am the happiest woman in the world and I love him, but I also love who I am when I'm with him, which is fantastic. But I also know that if this doesn't work out, tomorrow Juan still has himself and I still have myself. And I think this breakup would hurt us less than the other breakups did.
And ironically, the fact that each of us has ourselves and is strong and whole is what keeps it from ending. Because we're together by choice, not out of need.
Totally.
And beautiful love, as I always tell you, doesn't have to last forever to have been beautiful. And as you said very well, if you learned, if you grew, if you enjoyed it, it wasn't a waste of time. It was a stage lived to the fullest.
Of course.
Pamela Cassis, a friend who appeared on your show and my podcast,
Who is the best?
the best, sending her my kisses. She says you choose better in the second round. What would you say?
Totally, right?
I don't think it's a matter of choosing better. I think getting to that point, exactly. You arrive much more prepared, you arrive with more tools, you arrive with a much bigger bag of trash because you know how to identify, look, this doesn't belong in my bag of trash. You don't take it away from her, you throw it away yourself because she's going to keep being the other person. She's going to keep being just as she is, just as she is. Me too. One of my favorite phrases is also that I'm not in love with Paulina, with her light. I'm in love with her shadows. I'm in love with her flaws. I'm in love with her darkness.
I mean, you accept her just as she is.
Anyone can fall in love with her light.
What are my flaws? What is my darkness? Enough? Let's take advantage.
No, they're in the little bag.
Place them in a small bag or else.
I'm never going to say, I'm never going to tell, of course not, I'm never going to tell their dark sides because I don't want anyone else to fall in love with them.
Oh no, he's a real charmer. Even I fell in love.
Me neither.
No, well.
Well,
Hey, but look, without a doubt, there are still triggers which are not flaws, it's who they are, and you bring your gunpowder and it sets you off, and vice versa, and that happens to all of us. How do you deal with that? How do you both deal with that? Or is it like, wow, it sets me off? And the ego, the first thing it wants to do is blame the other person. How do you deal with that? Because people might say, well, like you said, it's already perfect. No, it's not perfect. We're still taking it one day at a time. What does that look like?
I have an exercise. I don't know if you've done it with me, probably yes, or maybe yesterday too, right? But I mean, let's say that suddenly something about Juan bothers me, right? Something about Juan bothers me, or there was something I didn't like, or something made me sad. And instead of staying there, I think about all the things I do have.
Good, I liked it.
For example, I might say, why does he always leave the helmet there and not pick it up? It's a silly example that doesn't really happen, okay? But rather than focus on that, I think how nice that every time I wake up, he brings me my coffee. How nice that he gives me a kiss in the morning. How nice that he hugs me every night and we cuddle together. And he says to me, did you know that I love you? That phrase, did you know that I love you? Every night.
No, I already told you that I love you.
I already told you that I love you.
I said I love you, but she insists I never did.
You say that when you act too.
It has to look natural.
Sure.
Hey, one day I caused a big scene. I'll share more later. I focus on the good instead of the bad, which I think is why you connect differently in other relationships. You used to see the bad, and you would only focus on the bad just to distance yourself more and more.
Yes.
And now I see the good so I can get closer to him.
I love it. Well, ladies, when you see your husband's underwear lying around, because that's typical, say, I'll pick it up instead of getting mad at him since he's sweet, talks to me, cares for me, and does so much. Just toss it in the laundry basket.
At first, we had the wet towel war.
Which one is that?
I was about to say I've already learned, but I don't think I have.
No, no, really, you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. I would walk into the room and my beloved's big towel was on the bed, wet.
Okay.
I told her once, I told her twice, and by the third time the towel wasn't there anymore because I would take the towel and put it where it was supposed to go. I mean, it doesn't bother her. If I'm the one who's bothered by it, then why make a fuss about it? I go and pick it up and put it where it belongs, and that's it. There's no conflict. There's no conflict. Save your energy for when there's something big.
We get caught up in everything. Honestly, no.
It's not worth it.
But you think in the moment that, yes, you think that towel is against you and that she's offending you and that she doesn't learn and it gets to you.
It's not the towel, it's the power.
Exactly.
It's the control of why he doesn't pick up the towel if it's important to me. It's about power. Juan's actions seem beautiful to me. I've learned not to leave it lying around anymore.
No.
I haven't learned, but what Juan does seems beautiful to me, right? What's so hard about it? Why should I argue?
It doesn't bother her. It bothers me. Well, if I'm the one who's bothered, I just go and that's it. Nothing happens.
How do you deal with jealousy since you're both attractive and in the public eye? Even though I know you say Juan sets boundaries and Pau brings the class, whatever it is, but the temptation is still there, right? So, for people who might relate, right? Like, I feel jealous or I unintentionally make others jealous because I'm cheerful and smiley. How do you guys deal with that?
To begin with, I'm not jealous. I've never been jealous. I'm not jealous at all. I'm not naive either, right? Paulina doesn't give me any reason, zero reason. A lady in every sense of the word, a woman I trust. I put my hands in the fire right now, but then I don't like it sometimes because Paulina is very open. She's very talkative.
A good Mexican.
Like a good Mexican, she's also someone who brings people together. I don't like it when people around her take that as if she's opening the door for them. It kind of bothers me, people from outside. And I do like to set boundaries.
Do you set them?
I set them myself.
Publicly?
No, I don't like it, right? Paulina sets them clearly, but she doesn't realize it, so I set them myself. I'm scared. I can't do it. I'm not a violent person at all.
I mean, if you don't have reasons to feel jealous, then it's not like they say. It's not that I don't trust you, it's that he's crossing the line. He's crossing the line.
He's going to find a limit. So he has to understand. Friendly at first, yes, friendly.
And you?
I'm not jealous at all, right?
Not at all?
Not jealous at all. I trust Juan a lot.
Have you always not been jealous at all?
No.
Now that you feel secure?
It's now that I feel secure in Juan and in myself.
Of course.
But it's incredible how Juan has never given me any reason. I remember, I think one of the first trips we took was to Miami. I was just in a towel, not looking very cute, just a regular bikini, and suddenly I turn around.
Regular? You looked amazing in a bikini. What do you mean regular?
And there was this girl with a body and a swimsuit so tiny that even I liked her. You know what I mean?
Of course, beauty is admirable.
I really admire feminine beauty. I always tell Juan, look, what a beautiful girl. Yesterday, I told him your wife is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
She's gorgeous, Karen. Of course, we also sent her lots of kisses.
I love to acknowledge a woman's beauty. So I looked at her and I swear I didn't even look at her. Obviously, I thought it was such a sweet gesture and I said, thank you for taking care of me, right? Because he did it, obviously, to make me feel safe. Juan has never given me...
I mean, I saw her, but I immediately looked away.
Of course, look, we all have eyes, we see, and people walk by in front of us, but it's another thing to get hooked and stare like a pervert with different intentions.
Like a creepy old man, right? So, for example, we're at some dinner or at a wedding and a girl shows up, like, I met you, I don't know when, I don't know how long ago, and he starts talking to her. And then Juan looks for me and says, wait a second, I'll go get my wife. He goes for me, takes my hand, hugs me, and says, let me introduce you to my wife. You were saying? So he's a man who has always given me the security I would have wanted in life. I love that.
I love it, since now they're both coming from that awareness as they've discussed. Hey, all the struggles we went through in past relationships weren't for nothing. We have to honor all those lessons.
Look, now it's okay to feel jealous, you know?
Obviously, it's just an impulse.
The thing is, what do you do with your jealousy? Not telling him, you jerk because of this and that. Instead saying, hey, I'm feeling this way, you know? I mean, that should be okay too. At some point, I told you, remember, like, hey, I'm not liking this. Of course, it's my story, so tell me about it, right? I already discussed it with him and felt happy, calm, and good.
I help you gain clarity.
Totally.
That's beautiful. Heading towards the end of this talk, which I could make really long, and I hope you keep coming. And by the way, you're still doing the Putsu podcast.
We're going to pick it up again.
Well, I want to accept the invitation that someone gave me once, and I was just getting married, you can imagine. First of all, you still show this anxious and avoidant attachment, or how do you solve a problem? When things bubble up, it's understandable. I mean, when you get angry, because clearly any couple gets angry.
We talk about it.
Immediately? Or do you need time since one wants to leave and the other wants to talk right away?
Juan, I think you need to breathe out a bit more.
Yeah, I do need a little more time.
I mean, Juan needs to adjust more. Yes, I think you.
More, right?
Yes.
Yes, I have a temper. Very strong. And there are things that I do need to process. I need to process them.
If you don't, you could hurt someone or react poorly.
Yes, yes. So yes, I put a stop to it, and I need that moment where things need to calm down. But
And how do you express it? How do you ask for the moment? Because maybe they're trying to say something clearly and you say, give me a moment. How is it?
yes, no, we talk. He gives me his arguments, and we try not to let that carry over to the next day. We try not to let it go to another day. We talked about the last conflict before going to sleep, actually.
We talked about it before going to sleep.
It doesn't mean it's 100% over, because it's still going on. It's still being processed. And that's it. We're not about copy, paste, or delete. No, it doesn't work like that. But within the awareness we have, I think we understand each other very well on that. I think that.
And when he asks you for time, does it make you feel some kind of...
No, not at all.
No, actually, no.
I am one of those people who needs to talk things out, and it doesn't have to be right away.
I mean,
Don't think that I pressure to talk right now, okay? But it's really nice. We say everything with love and respect. I mean, there are no disrespectful words, no yelling, no slamming doors. Everything is really nice. But I do need to talk things out, because if I don't, I distance myself.
Of course, you disconnect.
I disconnect. I'm very sensitive. And because of my wounds, my personal history and everything, because I haven't healed everything, there are always wounds that when you get hurt again, they can bleed, right?
Of course.
I try to talk about it, because if I don't, I distance myself and return later. Yes, I know, and Juan does too.
Do you protect yourself? Of course.
It's just that.
Look, it's just an opinion. No, I'm not giving diagnoses just for chatting, but clearly there's always an anxious one and an avoidant one. But you can tell that you've learned, because clearly in your past relationships, well, there wasn't this maturity, right? For some reason, you didn't end up somewhere else. But now I can see that when I look at you, maybe you were the anxious one and you the avoidant one. You've managed to bring it to an adult, to secure attachment, the part where two adults, not two children, can communicate. And that's beautiful. And I think only experience, preparation, and love can give you that.
And you know what? Trusting in what we have, because maybe in the past, in other stories, we wondered, how are we going to be sad? How are we going to fight? How am I going to say this? Because you feel like the relationship can be vulnerable when you open your heart or when you get angry, but it's okay to get angry and it's okay to open your heart. And right now, we trust the relationship so much that we know it can handle any discomfort.
it can withstand a grand piano falling from the 10th floor, no problem.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Ask another question on a different topic. In this globalized world, relationships are increasingly multicultural. And even though you've been in Mexico for a long time, you're from Argentina and, well, yes, Latin America and all that, but they're very different cultures. I'm also married to someone from your country. Is there a culture clash, or are you both already Mexicanized, or how do you handle that?
Look, I've been living in Mexico for 35 years, so I learned that wherever you go, do as the locals do. I've lived in many places, I've traveled a lot, really a lot, and yes, I definitely have my Argentinian ways. I used to be very direct, very straightforward. I didn't hold anything back, and I said things like we Argentinians say, I learned things, and even today, that's how I am. Now, we already have a phrase when we're talking about business, about relationships and everything. Well, but let's say it in Paulina's tone, right?
Right?
What do you mean? Because she is much gentler when saying things, she says things.
We Mexicans sugarcoat things more.
She says them very nicely. I'm blunt, straightforward, like, no, 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 take that away because it's horrible.
Yes, yes, yes.
And meanwhile, Paulina's hair stands on end. Well, I think that thing about people.
Argentinians, please, Argentine people, we need you to calm down, guys.
Today, I'll give you a very Argentine example, which is still a bit hard for me sometimes, but less than before. But this Juan is way too direct. Sometimes they make Argentine jokes that would be seen as inappropriate in Mexico.
Yeah, you get it, right? I mean,
Suddenly, you're at the table with family or friends and think, please don't let a friend do that to you.
Yeah.
Of course, he doesn't want to. It's an Argentine joke. But for instance, where are you in my house? Me? I mean, was Juan going to stay with me that night? My kids weren't there. We had a barbecue at home because we wanted to be alone already, right? So we were having the barbecue and the wine. And a friend says to him, hey, well, 5 more minutes and then you leave. And the friend like, what, really? 5 minutes and you leave, please? Now. I want to be with Paulina. I want you all to leave, which I think is nice and honest, but you don't tell a Mexican 5 minutes and you leave.
please, no, please, no. That's a lifelong offense. Therapy.
I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. The friend, I think he laughed to be polite, and after 5 minutes, he left.
Yes, it's very Argentinian, yes.
And it's appreciated, right?
Look, I feel
I asked him, what did your friend say after?
He loves how straightforward you are since he is too.
the guy in therapy.
Huh?
Hey, no, but you know what? I think both of them are struggling.
You too.
I'm going through it too, of course.
I mean,
I'm going to tell you an anecdote right now, a similar one. Super straightforward, of course. And the thing is, I'm like a good Mexican and also sensitive. And also, I can be a man, but I don't want to confront my wife aggressively. So I try to be tactful. And the thing is, I feel that we have to learn to be less bullfighters of the idea, less sugarcoaters, and grow up a little. Yes, because for example, saying no is really hard for us. Like we see it, we talk about it, we talk to each other.
When you know you're not going to go,
They tell you no. What do you mean no?
there's a wonderful example that Mexicans themselves use, which says, let's see, do you want to reach the port? I mean, do you want to reach your destination? Don't ask a Mexican which way it is, because just to avoid saying no, they'll tell you, no, over there at the corner, next to the tree, the big one, well, there to the right, and then you get there and there's an empty lot, and you say, dude,
100% totally good.
if someone asks, where is this or that? I just say, I don't know. Find out yourself.
Let the Argentine learn to soften up, to be a bit more loving, so to speak, and let us be a bit more mature.
but it's cool because I've learned from Juan how to set clearer boundaries, and Juan has also learned to be sweeter. I love it. So it's nice to take the best from each other.
And in the end, I mean, learning is the key, the balance. But as Juan said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And in the Mexican setting, well, you have to go along with those rules a bit, because if not, people aren't going to start philosophizing like we do. And it's like, oops.
Sometimes my sense of humor slips out, which is dark, heavy humor. That's the kind of humor I have. I'm into politically incorrect humor.
But politically incorrect,
Totally incorrect.
politically
Totally incorrect. That in Argentina,
politically correct.
Of course, that's normal.
that's normal. But then here you make a joke about that and they hold on to it forever. They have nothing else to do. Nothing else to do but bite and stay there like a dog with a bone.
All right, but well, we'll keep learning. The truth is, like you said, you're not going to lose many of the things that are also part of what you long for and miss. That's all. Well, on the board you're on, you'll have to adapt, and that goes for everyone. When I go to Argentina, I talk about Quilombo and this and like this.
The money,
The money, I make myself a fernet with Coke. You have to adapt.
Yeah, they give you barbecue and more.
No, my father-in-law, I send a kiss to my in-laws too. I gained 10 kilos, which I haven't lost since last December. From the barbecues, no, it's not that yes.
Such large meals and also the generosity.
No, not just some barbecues. And besides, they love to dip bread in the sauce.
Of course, well,
It's delicious.
Now I'm craving it.
so do they love it or do you love it?
I loved it too. I learned that one you all love, you go crazy, and it's beautiful, but well, what you're showing me with all of this is that love is built, right? It doesn't just appear by magic. What do you say about that?
Absolutely.
Love is something you build and you do it every day, all the time.
Agreements, communication, seduction, laughter, problem solving. If you could, I'm going to ask you first, Paul, would you go back to the Paul who went through that darkness, through that intense pain at any stage you want to place yourself in? Being the fulfilled, happy Paul you are today in this relationship, if you could say something to that Paul who saw everything dark, what would you say to her?
To trust yourself. I would say, Pao, trust yourself. You are going to go through rocky paths, sometimes dark ones, sometimes uphill, others downhill. But everything will help you grow and become a great woman because you are going to be very happy.
Beautiful.
Trust the process.
What would you say to her about love?
Never close yourself off to love. Always love, always love. Even if you get hurt, never stop loving. But above all, the greatest love is your own. So work on your self-love so you can give yourself in the most beautiful way.
Precioso, I'll repeat the question. If you could go to that Juan on the couch, sad and desolate, and you could say something to him, what would you say?
I'm going to tell you as a Mexican, I'm going to tell you, keep going the way you are. You're going to love the guy you're going to find later on. You're going to have an amazing time with that guy you'll meet down the road. And in love, I've never stopped believing in love, never, and I believe that love is the most powerful force that moves us. But it has to go hand in hand with its older brother, which is loyalty. That's something you must never lose. Loyalty, the greatest loyalty is to oneself. And through that loyalty, you'll be able to share that loyalty with the people around you who trust you, who follow you, and who depend on you in different ways and to different degrees. But yes, you have to trust in the older brother, which is loyalty, and in the most powerful force, which is love.
I love it. You already know love doesn't just arrive or get searched for. It's built, and it's built first within yourself. Everything else is a reflection of that, so get ready for it. Subscribe to this channel to catch future episodes where we'll continue discussing this. Learn to philosophize. There's also my book, my courses, the group sessions, everything we have for you at Conquista Tu Mundo so you can keep working on yourselves and eventually as a couple. We leave you the link in the episode, and I want to thank and applaud my amazing guests here.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
See you soon.
Thank you.